And good evening, everybody. Welcome to ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is the John Wristen Show. Jim Brooks with you here tonight. Joe Servey on assignment. He's on assignment in Disneyland tonight. But with me is the head coach, John Wristen. John, welcome.
What's up, Jimmy? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, a lot of stress, a lot of the heaviness is off me. The Red Sox just came up with 6 in the top of the 10th. So it looks like we're going to get a 9-3 victory over the Mariners. There's something thereabouts. So I was real stressed out when I got here, when it was 3-3 going to the 9th.
I'm glad you can eliminate your stress.
Well, I thought I'd bring that up just to lighten the mood.
Well, thank you, buddy. It's been one of those weeks.
I can imagine. It's got to be, this is a foreign territory for the Thunderwolves, foreign territory for you as a program under this kind of adversity. But I'm sure in some ways, you know what? Let's just try to battle it, and let's welcome it and do what we can with it.
Well, I think the reality, Jim, is that when you schedule playoff caliber teams and do those things, I mean, you got to play some really, really, really good football to have a chance. And so I'm disappointed in our execution. I'm disappointed in our fundamentals. I'm disappointed in the stuff that we make a living at. and that's not beating ourselves. And in our first 2 games, we've done that, and it's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy about what can I do to make sure we understand what it is. And so we're going to continue to work on it. The best thing about this is the preseason's over with.
Yeah.
This preseason's over with. We went 0-2 in the preseason. Now the regular season's going to start. We're 0-0, and we're looking forward to this opportunity playing Black Hills Saturday.
Well, I know that's the common thought about it. Everybody go, okay, now we get the conference. Let's just go 9-2. I'm going, let's slow down a little bit here. Let's try to get 1-0 this week. I know you preach that. You put it up on the paper on the doors when you go in there. It's on the chalkboard. It's on the whiteboards. You got to go 1-0.
Yeah, and I think the unique thing that I feel like we got to develop some attitude and chemistry. And I think when you get hit in the mouth, and I think we've responded. You know, we've gotten up. We haven't laid down, but there's an attitude and chemistry that you got to have to be able to really maneuver your way to success. And I say maneuver because it's not a set recipe. You don't do this, you don't do that, because there's adversity that hits you all the time. And how you respond and how you maneuver in that a positive way. It's like I told the guys tonight. I said, hey, I need you to visualize. I need you to see this. And it's not a visualize about your play. It's about developing attitude and chemistry. What is our passion? What do we have? What's our cause? What are we doing together that takes 85 strong dressing you out at home? What does that look like? If we can do those things, great things will happen. But if it doesn't, we're going to be struggling. And it's just because of a selfish attitude of your attitude and chemistry. And it's my job to get that corrected.
Yeah, you say you love these kids, and look at them. I mean, it looks like a great unit to me in certain circumstances. The defense flying around, they look good. They even in that game, when you're constantly put under the pressure, your defense has been put under this first 2 ball games. I think they've acquitted themselves quite well, and maybe the score doesn't show it on Saturday night, but when you're constantly trying to defend a short field, sooner or later you're going to give up scores.
Well, I think that what happened Saturday night, in my opinion, was we had them at 3rd and long 3 times
on that first drive.
In the first drive. And we had great rush, we had great cover, and the quarterback scrambles and makes plays. And so that's part of the ball game. It is. But I like where we were. You know, offensively, we made a couple first downs. We're moving down the field, and then we got behind the chains. When we got behind the chains, we weren't able to overcome it. So when we stay on track and maneuver that so that we can have a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and short, that's a lot better than 3rd and 10. And your percentage on 3rd and 10 show up in the statistics because that's what we were.
I know you use that phrase a lot. Joe and I use it. I guess the common folks that are maybe not familiar with football or the terminology behind the chains just means more than 10. The chains are ahead of you. If you've got more than 10 on any down, I don't care if it's first down, second down, or third down, you're in a tough situation.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to find a yard. It's hard to find a yard when you play against very, very good football teams. And we played against two, I think, outstanding defensive. I think we played two outstanding defensive lines that are not what we normally see. And so I think with that being said, it gives you an opportunity to get better. It really does. But for us to get better, we have to manage the first down calls. We have to manage second down. We have to manage the third down so we can stay on track. We work on situations all the time in our preseason and spring camp that's 2nd and 6. And you got to manage 2nd and 6 to move forward. But if you don't get to 2nd and 6, it's awful hard. It's awful hard to continue to be consistent. That's the difference. Is the consistency has not been there because we've been behind the chains.
I think it comes down and also you got to find your identity, and your identity has always been we got to run the football. We got to run football a little bit better, or mix in a play action pass on 1st and 10. But the running game has to be working for that to work. So I think it all comes down. We got to start gaining those 4 yards you mentioned. Be it 2nd and 6 rather than 2nd and 13.
It's all tied together. It's all tied together. Whatever. We're not going to be able to drop back and protect if we don't have our run game and what we're built. And that's what's kind of been thrown in there and been able to handle that. And so we're looking forward to the challenge. And we've had really, Tuesday's practice, we got lightning out, and they're doing some maintenance work up in the art. And so we weren't able to get into that. And so today we went a little bit longer, and it was a physical goal because I'm getting their attention.
I'm sure your opponent this week has your attention. Their first 2-0 start in forever, and they're playing pretty well. They got a new coach. It's really his first year. They played a couple games last year in the COVID era, but this is really where it's his first year, and he's trying to develop a culture, like you say, and he's an alum, so he has pride in the program, and I'm sure you're up for the challenge or expect a good challenge from him.
Well, I really, what I notice is that the Black Hills team, and I had a lot of respect for John Reiners, and this is but they're buying into what that coach is saying. They're buying into what they're playing hard. I think their front people are really playing a lot better than they've ever played, in my opinion. I think they're got buy-in. They got buy-in with this new staff, and it's going to be one heck of a challenge here on Saturday at 1:00.
Yes, about 95 degrees.
Perfect.
So it's going to be a sweat fest up there. It'll be nice and cool for Joe and I. We'll be in the booth, John. I know you'll be down there sweating a little bit, but you'd want that no other way, right? You want to be on there and just grinding away, right?
Well, that's been that way since August 7th.
No doubt about it. Well, let's talk a little bit more, dig into the ball game from Saturday night. It starts right at the start of the ball game before all the pregame pageantry. I mean, they do it right there, don't they? I mean, that was quite an atmosphere where they come running out in the blue smoke, and there's 10,000 or 11,000 people, whatever it was there, and it's a full house pretty much. When you look around, they skydive the ball out. You guys are in the locker room. You don't get to see all this, but when they came out, I mean, it was nuts.
Well, when the spotter or whatever you want to say, hey, the guys jumped out of the plane. I said, what guys jumped out of the plane? He goes, yeah, we got a skydiver bringing the game ball. He goes, you guys got to move. So I got them all out of there. We screwed up our routine to be able to get going. But anyway, we got off the field, and that was one impressive environment, like you said. And the student section was great, and they were hanging over, and it's just full of energy. And our goal was to take the noise out, and I think we increased the noise in the first quarter. So, those are things that's why they call it a game. You got to play better.
Well, you're able to get the break, get the touchdown on the interception to make it 21-7. They got the ball back. There was a couple of key possessions in the ball game. One of them was when you got the ball back down 21-7, didn't do anything with it. The second one was in the second half. It was 28-14, got the ball back through a pick. I think those were circumstances in the ball game. If we can mount it, I even said it on the air. I go, strange as it may seem, one possession away from making this a heck of a ball game, and they just didn't work out.
Well, I gathered everybody up right at the start of the fourth quarter. I said, we cut it to 14. I said, now we got to get to overtime, and then we're going to go win it in overtime. I said, we got to find a way to get it to overtime. And so starting the fourth quarter, and then we throw the pick on a Texas route, and that kind of doomed us in.
I thought that was really one of the Kroll has showed pretty good poise throughout this year, but I thought that was the one time might have panicked right there on that throw.
I think one of those things you wish you had back, and DJ kind of got tripped up coming out of the backfield, and so it was just unfortunate, the combination of all that, and that's kind of why he panicked a little bit, in my opinion.
And you talk about the plays during the game that mean huge things. The first drive where he scrambled for 35-yard, whatever. That quarterback was something else. I mean, he was big, strong. A couple times he got hit. And, when Filio peels off you after you've been hit, you're pretty strong. And I thought that was the difference in the game, his physicality.
Well, I think you look at the first hit of the game. I really.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very first one where they called it a forward pass. In my mind, it was a strip sack.
The ball just flipped forward.
And we were right there in the opportunity. If you want to talk about, those 5 or 6, 7 plays that make a difference that don't quite go your way, but you got to hustle, you got to scramble, and so, it's a game of inches, as I've talked about. It's a game of inches that you got to strain with, and you got to go and get all the stuff handled in that way to be successful. And what I mean by handling, you got to figure out how to get to that point to be successful. I can get you there, but you got to get that one more inch to go strain to do that. And that's what great ball games do.
And we talk about a play here and there, even though it was a 20-point game. I mean, there are those little plays that could turn momentum in a ball game, turn it your way. The punt return was huge as well. When you outkicked the coverage, it was, Joey said, "That's a great punt." I'm going, "Oh my God!" He outkicked the punt coverage by 15 yards, and that hurt.
Well,
and then he makes the guy miss.
Justin does a great job of placing the ball where we need to. Well, if you notice, we're on the left hash. We want it on the left hash of numbers. Well, he put it right kind of in the middle, and the wind kind of took it. And we ended up having a guy follow another guy and not get off and make a play. And then a gunner on the other side is going to take a shot. And then our other guys here, and they run into each other, or they're going to make a play. And then it forces them to bounce, and the guys did a good job. And we had another guy in a trail position, and so then he broke loose. And that guy was the Lone Star Player of the Year 2 years ago. And so he made a nice play, but we helped him.
And a couple other plays. You've got the fumbled punt, had it there, and that was another circumstance. It's 21-7, I think, when you got the recovered punt.
Right.
And couldn't do anything. There's those certain circumstances. I think you're just, hey, you got your ball club's attention. We're not that bad. Hey, we just have to make these plays when the opportunity is there.
I just think we just got to gain some confidence. I think, that's hard to create in practice. I think our guys have played a lot of football, but you got to respond. You got to respond with confidence. And I think there's no quit last Saturday. There was no give in. There was nothing. There's a lot of pride on that. But that's what average teams do when you just show up. Okay?
Right.
The great teams that want to be great find a way to strain and get through it. And so, and that's the understanding of the attitude and chemistry you've got, because you're playing for each other. And that's what you got to do. And so that's my job as a coach is to try to get that understood.
Well, it's a special challenge for you. I'm sure you welcome it.
Well,
you don't welcome it, but hey, you got to welcome it because it's that.
Hey, that's why they call you coach. You got to figure it out, and you got to lead, and you got to have them through adversity to be able to handle it.
All right, we are at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House, John Wristen Show. We're going to have some food out here shortly. Hope to have a special guest here in our next segment. If not, we'll go over the plays from last week's game, but that's all coming your way. Also, you can text a question to John, 719-671-7574. It's the John Wristen Show from ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House on Fox Sports Pueblo. And welcome back, ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is the John Wristen Show. Food has been delivered here, John. It looks awesome here. We've got the sesame wings. We got some, I think that's the habanero wings, boneless.
The best part is that Thunder dip.
Oh,
Thunder.
man, look at that. It's got, and I got it over close to me, so we'll start sliding that down, though. The multicolored chips, that looks good. And we got the fried cheese. You know who likes fried cheese? My daughter, Carly.
Carly likes
Carly
it.
loves cheese. Sang the national anthem last Thursday at Dutch Clark Stadium.
Oh, you got to be proud of that.
Yeah. So she did a good job, and they did all right. She's got to do a couple other times this year, so she misses you. She said to say hi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think our special guest might be in the house. He might be hiding over there in the corner.
He is. Is Dax here?
Yeah.
Come on in, Dax. Come on. Here we go. Let's everybody give our man a hand. The now former Associate Athletic Director in charge of media relations here at CSU Pueblo. He's moving back to Minnesota. We'll get him to get his headset on here and get him all set up. Get the chips
got
out
all
of the
this
way.
food right here.
He was hiding over there. Thought he was going to be able to get away with it, but I told him, no, you're coming on. I tried to get him to host a whole show with us. You know, maybe get him to change his mind and stick around and replace Joe Serby, but that's not going to happen. Here come the kiddos.
That would have been great.
So everybody's happy about it. Welcome, Dax.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your new
so
gig. Why don't you tell us, the folks at home, what your new gig exactly is?
Yeah, so working for a school district in back home in Minnesota. Gotta say with a long O now.
Yeah.
Doing communications for a school district. You know, working athletics since college. I was a undergrad in the athletic communications office at Minnesota State Mankato, then a graduate assistant, right into an assistant role, and then came out here for 7 years as the sports information director, and it's been fantastic. And decided that, you know, family wins overall, and so we're heading back home into a spot that's right between my parents and my wife's mom, and puts us back home and in a position to spend time with the 3 beautiful daughters and my wife, and you know, watch football and have a beverage on the weekends instead of sitting in the press box.
Hey, just be careful what you wish for, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Be careful what you wish for right there, buddy.
So I think Callie might need to be careful. TK told me that when he stepped away from sports information, his wife was wondering why he was around all the time. Like they kind of got used to him not being around. Yeah, exactly. So it might be Callie telling me to find something to do on the weekends.
Well, this is kind of like a celebration of life for your sports information life.
Yeah.
As you move on to the private sector.
Yeah.
Although it's not actually private sector, it's public sector.
No, it's a public school, K through 12, and it's actually the largest school district in Minnesota, and so there's plenty to do, and it'll just be a little different. Be covering you know, normal K through 12 activities and maybe a couple state football games here and there.
Good luck with that, dealing with principals and teachers.
Yeah.
They don't have enough pencils. What are you going to do about that, Dax? We need a little public relations.
Well, you're
that.
assuming that college coaches are easy to work with, so.
Well, it's a good segue. Tell us about your years. You're working with John Wristen. How was that?
You know, it's been fantastic. You know, I really appreciate what John has done for CSU Pueblo, and then, you know, I came in 2014.
Perfect timing.
The football program drew me in, you know, and I knew what they had done and the national prominence that they had built, and you know, it drew me in, and I came in, and they won a title in the first year, and it was an amazing run, and I learned so much from the program and from you, Coach, and really, like, I have such an appreciation for what you built and this program and what it's built on, and these student athletes. Like I had guys like Morgan Fox and Tony Campton help me move into my house, and now I'm watching him on Sundays. You know, it's pretty cool for me to see his story, and just that's just a couple of guys that, you know, just I'm friends with on Facebook now after the fact, and just very, very exceptional young men in the classroom and off the field. And so, you know, kudos to you for what you've built here and the people that have made this program up.
Well, I remember we were having our annual steak fry, and that was the first time I think I was able to meet you and your lovely wife and your oldest daughter over there. And she had a personality that was second to none, and she still has it. And now look at her. She's a rock star and running the whole school and everything. So I'm gonna miss seeing that, and appreciate all your hard work. Sometimes You go unsung hero and trying to get everything done. And sometimes football coaches were kind of tough to deal with. Not me at all, but we're
No.
kind of tough to deal with and managing it. But the reality of it, you made it work and made it work great, and you're a great addition. And we only going to stay friends through this whole time. I appreciate what you brought to CSU Pueblo.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And yeah, the football coaching staff has been fantastic. Some of them a second family, and obviously Coach Leo and what he did, and just a great family atmosphere. And it's was truly an honor for me to be a part of this.
Well,
For
talk
7
about
years.
maybe your 2 or 3 greatest memories, other than winning the national title. That was a great trip. That was just all around awesome. But what are some of your other things that stick out in your mind, other maybe than Roy Stanley demanding more ink for the soccer team? But no, just kidding, Roy.
Yeah.
I know you're out there. You're good. I've done soccer games with Roy at
Yeah.
Dutch Clark, so I can pick on another coach. But let's talk about what your fondest memories.
Yeah, like you said, the national championship is a given, and then to play against my alma mater in the national championship game was something that you can't draw that up.
Yeah.
Like first year here, and then we're playing Mankato, and I don't tell a lot of people this, but I was in the Minnesota State AD's suite the night before the game, and so I knew half the staff. I knew the trainer, I knew the equipment guy, I knew the SID, and so. But yeah, that experience was amazing. But honestly, it's the week before. That trick play touchdown is something like
Yes.
having that vision from the press box and watching that develop and the timing of it, and it was just like Zach was just wide open, and he just this sophomore tight end that had I think 5 receptions before that all season, and wide open, and he catches it and turns around, and like nobody's there, and it's like that play I think will stick out in my mind.
There you go. Goosebumps.
Forever.
That's a goosebump moment, isn't it?
Just-
that was a
oh.
great night. That was an incredible ball game. The national championship was something else, but the game, the build-up against West Georgia, and all the preparation you had to do for national television being there.
And fourth or third straight, hosting a playoff game and just trying to find my bearings. It was my first year as a full-time director as well, and I got ESPN in the booth next to me,
And you got basketball games on top of that. You had to go do
did.
so
Right.
you had to do all
Right.
that. So
we had to move them to Sunday. So I remember had my assistant running the basketball games because I had to do all that stuff, all the preparation on Sunday because we were getting on a plane on Tuesday to head to KC. So that process was amazing. There was a women's soccer game. I think it was in 2015. It was a playoff game, and they were climbing up with Paul Regretto as the head coach and having a fantastic season. And I remember this playoff game. There's students and student athletes lining the fence at ALG, and it was just the atmosphere for a soccer match was so fantastic. There's the refs I think were telling the fans to quiet down, and you're like they're getting a little rowdy and chirping at the other team, but just the atmosphere was so fun. So that's definitely one that sticks out. And then that team that year was pretty something special, making the NCAA tournament.
And probably the
doing
women's
things
regional. I
down
mean,
there.
the basketball regional when we had that here too. That was a lot of extra work for you as
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
that was a great environment as well.
Yeah, Sean Pooley and I were up until I think it was 2 a.m. the night before that first game, and we were hosting 4 games the next day, just trying to get the media room ready and the press row and the credentials and everything laid out for that tournament. But again, that atmosphere in that second game, that team that year, I think the football program came out and stood in the end and dressed up in costumes, and anytime that the student athletes supporting the student athletes, those are my fondest memories. Are watching our family support the family, coming out to playoff games, and track and field coming to just a regular season volleyball game, and it changes the whole atmosphere. And so that's tops in my mind. And the track and field program in general, cross country track and field has been really special to me. Obviously, Coach Morris he's on a different level with his abilities and what he's done and what he's brought in. And I never thought I'd be watching distance medley relay indoor track on a web stream, standing in my living room and
go
cheering.
go.
And I remember watching that first one in 2014 or 2015, and then 3 years later, they won the national championship. As a relay. It was just those memories of watching, and then actually my last last event last year was traveling with the team to Grand Valley and seeing them compete at the national level. And I think I've had the counter hit about 18 different track and field athletes that have watched my kids at some point during the 7 years here. And so that program for sure is something special.
Well, to wrap things up, I know Joe Servia says he never, ever wants to have to go to Mankato again. I told him, you know what? I don't mind if we have to go again because that means it's going to be a really big game and we owe him one. And you know, it'd be mixed. With us, you can cheer for your alma mater if you will, but I just want to get back there and have a beer with your daddy.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
We will be there for sure in the red, white, and blue. Cheering on the pack because I think they're due. I know we got the big one on them, but the last 3 have been hard. I don't like losing to those guys. I know I've spent 6 years there, a couple degrees between my wife and I think we have 4 degrees from there, but I don't like losing to those guys. So that would be fantastic. They actually lost this last week as well, and so you never know how that's going to shake up here, but. I'm not going to be a stranger to Pueblo and to Colorado, and definitely, there's a piece of my heart and my family's heart here, and we'll be back.
All right, well, we'll stay with us here when we go to break. Sure. You can leave after that, but this can be professional radio. You're going to watch me go to break here. There he is, everybody. Dax Larson, sports information guy. He's heading out. He's sailing off to Minnesota. We appreciate everything he's done. Come back after this timeout. We got questions for John. We've also got a couple highlights. Maybe we'll sprinkle in there as well. It is the John Wristen Show. We have 2 highlights.
Good.
2 highlights. John, we can listen to those. Actually, he was the highlight package.
Yeah.
But we'll sprinkle those 2 in.
John
Wristen Show here at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. Come on, celebrate Dax with us as well as head coach John Wristen. Right after this timeout on Fox Sports Pueblo. And welcome back, ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House, John Wristen Show. Let's pump John's mic back up there. We thank, once again, Dax Larson for joining us, the former Associate Athletic Director, in charge of media relations here at CSU Pueblo. They're having a celebration for him. It's getting underway as soon as our show's over. They're all supposed to start flowing in here. Paul Plinsky and the entire athletic department going to filter in. So we get to do double duty tonight. John, we got to entertain them as well, I think.
Okay.
You think we have a way of doing that?
You do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can.
You got a lot of skills.
I don't have any baggage with me.
You got a lot of skills, so.
Well, that's for sure. Well, let's. We got 2 highlights, John. We can listen to from the ball game, shall we? We have the.
Let's do it.
We had the play. It's 21-0, and you know how you coaches are. You have a plan. You say, well, we got to get that backup quarterback. It's the first game of the year, and he's worked hard. Let's put that backup quarterback in and let him get some reps, and it turned out good for the good guys. Basically did give one away there, didn't they? It was kind of a crazy play. I guess it's the old, in the modern vernacular, kind of the run-pass option. Fake it to the back. Looks like he's going to run around the end. Then he wanted to throw a little jump pass. Problem is, he didn't jump the pass over Corey McClellan. Did a great alert play there.
Well, Corey technically was in the wrong spot.
Was he? Okay.
But he made a play, and he made one heck of a play about jumping and timing. And normally, 9 out of 10 times, you bat the ball down. But Corey's one heck of an athlete and really working on his skill and was able to go catch it and make a big play. And I thought right then and there, we're going to get this thing going and gave us some momentum. Gave us some life.
Saying he was in the wrong spot. Was he technically supposed to be covering the guy that was slipping away? If that pass is completed over the top, it might go for 30 yards.
It was going to be a big play. And he's supposed to be as deep of the over route that was coming. And but Corey was athletic, came up and made a play, bit on the run per se, and was able to really jump really high and go catch the ball and take off in the other direction. And so it was wonderful to see that.
So then we move to later in the third quarter. It's 28-7 at this point. You get a break, got the ball down there, deep in their territory, and you're going to love this as we set it up. Joe Cervi doing a little foreshadowing here. John, listen to this. So, Joe, a little prediction there. Wanted Preston Guerra, and it worked. That was a great play. He made a great catch there. Kroll, you never want to advise that old late back over the middle of that things happen, but he threw it up high enough where only his guy could really get it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that one, I'm glad we made that play. Two, I'm sorry we made Joe right. We'll never hear the end of it, but that was two guys making a play, and when plays break down and they scramble, and we have scramble rules, and Stevie saw Preston and was able to target him. You know, during that play, we had their defender just tackle our receiver from going in the end zone, or else we might have had a shot there, and that forced a scramble, and Preston found the area, and Stevie lobbed it over to him, and he was kind of on the sidelines going, "What? Oh, great play.
Exactly.
Way to go," you know? So
the old Rich Reasoner to Brad Ransom. No, great shot.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's go to our question and answer segment here. Got a couple of them in here. Uncle Charlie, more encouraging than a question. He just says, hey, hang in there. Just got to get the thing rolling. And I think when it comes down, you got to get that. It's a game of first, isn't it, this week? You got to get that first down. First drive started, first touchdown, first stop. It's going to be a game of first, and it's imperative that Thunder will start making those first rather than having to answer people.
I agree, Charlie. We got to be able to stay on track, go take it to them, and build some confidence for us. So I think our confidence in competing, we just have to continue to develop and go make plays when we get those opportunities, so we can make sure that we don't want to play behind the eight ball like we have the last couple of weeks.
Well, Ken up in Denver, he wants to know when are we going to get the running game going, but I think we've already explained it. You can't run the ball on 2nd and 13 effectively. You're almost forced. Your hand's forced, isn't it? You got to throw the ball. You got to maybe throw a screen, maybe be conservative, but you got to be looking down the field. It's a lot easier to establish the running game when it's 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5.
Well, I think you can't be predictable, right? And so that in those down and distance situations make you pretty predictable. And so we want to keep the chains moving and really. I'm looking for a run game to be established, and so we have to continue to work on our fundamentals and finish. That's what we have to do, Ken, and so as soon as we understand that, we'll be able to run the ball.
All right. Listener 6, as I have him labeled in my phone, wants to know what will the quarterback rotation be this week. I guess the big question is Gunnar Lamphere. He was with the team. He actually warmed up. I guess if 3 guys have gotten hurt, he could have gotten the ball game, I suppose. You held him out probably as a precaution, but I'd imagine he's probably close to being ready, isn't he?
Gunnar's going to play, and I look forward to he's really had a good week of practice. He practiced well today. So, I think we're probably going to start Gunnar.
And the question, he's got to have a little self-preservation mode, doesn't he? He says, you know what, I could take off and run here, but, man, it's that left shoulder, and he's not going to try to lead with the right because you know what? So he's going to try to force hits into his left side, I would think, but that's where the problem lies with him.
Well, I think that he's got to just be very smart and get a first down and get out of bounds, and we got to do a better job of protecting him. But you want to be able to scramble, as you can see, a scramble quarterback and is hard to defend, and we want to make sure that Gunnar can be able to do that because that's his strength. He can run. He's also a guy that's good in the pocket, so we're looking forward to seeing his leadership.
But do we still see the other two at certain points in the game, or how do you just kind of go? If the hot hand, if Gunner starts the ball game and has a great game, I would imagine you just roll with him, don't you?
Yeah, I think right now we just need to develop some consistency, and it's I, I really look forward to seeing Gunner establish that, and hopefully this thing will be able to be defined that way.
And last question we've got that I have here, what can we expect from Black Hills? They want to know what kind of problems they're going to pose for us with their defense since our offense has been struggling. What does their defense do that's been causing us problems already this year, and how do we handle it?
Well, they play a 4-down front, and that's what we played the last 2 weeks, and so it's a little different than what we normally see in our league. And their front seven is very well coached. They're very well. The defensive line is very active. They bring some blitzes out of some different looks that you don't normally see, so you got to be sound for that. But the bottom line is that we got to be able to identify our guys, who we got to get targeted, and this is the theme: is we got to play fast. And play fast means that we know what we're doing. We're not killing ourselves. We eliminate self-inflicted wounds and be able to manage that. And no matter what defense you have, you just got to be able to manage that. And so play fast, be focused on the task at hand.
And I guess it's probably a tough situation mentally for your ball club. You can look back through the years, never lost to Black Hill State, 0-8. They've crushed them a couple of times. But, man, you're coming off a couple of crushing defeats just for you guys. You can't hang your hat on saying, you know what, we finally got an easy opponent. No, you don't have an easy opponent. Your biggest opponent right now is you guys, isn't it?
That's what I've always said. It's a faceless opponent. And until we understand that, until we go learn how to compete, and really we're competing with ourselves. We're sitting between the 6 inches between our ears is where we got to go. So I'm looking forward to this challenge. I'm looking forward to our kids being able to learn these lessons. And we got great kids. And, you know, we have played some very, very good football teams. But we're a good football team, too. And I just want us to be able to compete at a high level.
Probably a big message to the fans. Hey, don't give up on us yet. We need you back out there. We need the same intensity they had in that first game at the tailgate, before the ball game, during the game, in the fourth quarter rally. Need that same kind of intensity. Even though we're 0-2, ignore that. We're out here trying to win a ball game. Come help us win a game.
Well, that's kind of what I said. Told the guys on Sunday that, hey, preseason's over with. Now the regular season starts, and now we got to turn up our intensity about the way we're going about things. We got to make sure that we're doing all the little things extra. Our leadership, my inner circle, has been very good. They're very positive. Their actions this week show that we're going to get back on the right track.
Turn up the wick a little bit, I guess. Get the fire burning a little hotter. I guess that's the whole key here.
I think they heard of that.
All right. We are at ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is the John Wristen Show. We've got our grub here. We're going to dive into that pizza. That's my favorite. Sausage and pepperoni. I would have a little green diced pepper in, or the chili peppers are good too. You can add that in there.
Yep.
You can make your pizza any way you want here. I think Tuesday nights is when they have the big pizza night here. Tonight is wing night, so you and I are going to be diving into some wings. The Parmesan garlic, is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go naked.
Yep.
I know that's always, it's frightening when people hear me say that, but I dip it in ranch, so it's covered a little.
It's scary.
It is very scary. Well, come out here and join us. We've got the Dax Larson celebration going on as well here tonight. We've got ball games on. The Rockies are on against the Braves, and Red Sox are winner today. We can watch some baseball. We can talk football. We can just celebrate everything about Pac football. Come back and join us for the final segment. We'll talk a little bit more about Black Hills State. Might have another question come in. That's all coming your way next. ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is the John Wristen Show on Fox Sports Pueblo. And welcome back. ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. It is the John Wristen Show. We got our usual cast of characters right in front of us here. They said there's birthday cake, John, in those 2 boxes there. So we may have, to start the Adkins thing tomorrow. Going to have some sugar tonight. I keep looking at the counter. I keep saying, you know what? Because Lorelei does that. She's great at it. And I go, you know what? I'll start tomorrow. Then there's cake, or there's donuts at work, there's pie. It's hard to start that in. I'm sure within your position as being a football coach, a lot of those temptations too. Talk about the diet during the day.
Well, it's some days it's called the fasting diet, and then when I can tell when my stress picks up, I eat. I just eat. This week I've not fasted.
Yeah, your comfort foods. I need some comfort.
That's exactly right.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
know.
Well, we got plenty of comfort here tonight. I can't wait for that pizza.
Yep.
I like the habanero ranch boneless wings there.
The cheese curds are very
Cheese
good.
curds, very good. We had the fried cheese last week. We kind of, we kind of like this better. We agree. We like the cheese curds better than the fried cheese, although fried cheese not bad.
I tell you, Ryan Howard and the ThunderZone do a great job with food. They're excellent on and providing great food and service. And this is one of the all-time restaurants to come in and have some great food.
And Ryan working a little overtime. We cured our sound issue, so we're able to get out onto the patio here tonight and into the back corner. People are able to hear us a little bit, so
good.
That's good. Well, talk a little bit more about this Black Hills State Ball Club. We've talked about it. It's a program up there. They were NAIA for a long time. They finally joined the conference, and they're just trying to grow, and they're taking kind of some baby steps, it seems like, along the way. They actually regressed maybe a little bit with their football program, but I think right now they're on the cusp of maybe trying to build something up there, aren't they?
Yeah, I've been really impressed watching them this week. I think they're sound in their fundamentals, the way they're attacking people. They're not trying to out-trick people. They're trying to manage it and be successful on the building blocks of fundamentals. And I'm really impressed with that. I've been impressed with Josh and his staff and what they've been able to do. I think this quarterback, Chance, even number 13, he's a little slippery. He's hard to contain in the pocket, and so he's shown that the first 2 weeks of the season. And we got a big task on our hand. The receivers are guys that are just playmakers. They find a way to get open, and they are well coached and understand the spacing of the routes and the combination of it. But the most improvement I've seen is in their front. That's the offensive line and defensive line. I think they're playing harder, and not that they weren't well coached. They're just playing a little bit harder, and their technique is really, really well done.
Well, part of great coaching is great athletes, isn't it? So if you can recruit bigger guys, faster guys up front, it makes you look like a better coach, doesn't it?
Well, it's always the saying in recruiting, how's recruiting going, and what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for players that can overcome coaching. So I think they're on the right track. They're going to continue to do a good job. That's a great school to recruit to, and they're trying to build their foundation.
Well, they've got some other things going well. I know their basketball program, it's taken off. I think they're just waiting for the football program to take off as well. You mentioned their quarterback, and I think we've seen that last week. Man, on defense, you can do everything right. You make the plays, you're in the right spot, but when a quarterback can get away and stretch a play out a little bit longer, it just frustrates the defense. I'm sure that's probably the number one mission for this ball club this week for you guys. Let's try to contain him, stay in our lanes, baby. Be aggressive, but, man, we've got to be sound and not let him have that extra 2 or 3 seconds to hit a big play over the top of us.
Well, we just got to make sure we understand the scheme. Don't try to be Superman. Be Clark Kent. Do your job. Stay where you're supposed to. And then it will all work. You'll be all working together if we understand that. I do have to say, in all the years you've been broadcasting, number 26, he's from the same high school Preston Guerrero went to out of Arizona. He's a redshirt freshman. And his first name, I don't think I've ever seen before, is called Doodles.
I did see that when I was going. Doodles. Come on now.
Doodles. And he's got hair like Troy Palomaro. And you know what? The kid flies around and is a really great tackler. He's unbelievable about the way he comes up and tackles. But his name was Doodles. And I just was interesting that I wanted you to ask yourself a question. Have you ever called a game with a guy named Doodles?
No, every game I always point that out. This is my first. It will be my first Doodles. Be the first Doodles. And I get the, it's a California thing. I can look out amongst this crowd here, and John, I can pick somebody that might have named their kid Doodles.
Well,
now everybody here is wondering, now who is he looking at here that would have named their kid Doodles? Are you with me? You probably know which one it might have.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Exactly right.
But
we'll verify that after. We're not going to embarrass them on the air, but maybe after the show's over, we'll go ahead.
Yeah. But the unique thing is that kid is an outstanding player. And it was funny when I got the too deep and I looked at it. I go, God, he's from Preston School. And then I looked at his name and it said it was Doodles. I forget his last name because I just call him Doodles on that.
Well, and there's another interesting story about these two as well. They're the Quinones brothers.
Yeah, he has a brother.
And they were actually homeless in high school. They've overcome a little bit.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
That's another thing they've overcome. They're twins, and they're both 26 and 27.
Right.
Doodles and Nick. So when they came out of the womb, they said, "Oh, Doodles, all right, you're Nick." So that's where they are with that. But they've overcome a lot in life.
Good for them.
Homeless. They're out of Peoria, Arizona. And so we'll look forward to seeing them battle. I think they both play safety or defensive backs.
Yeah, they're both safeties and defensive backs back there.
And they contribute mightily to the ball club. So good that you point that out. So it's one of the human interest stories we'll watch with this ball game with Black Hills State. For you guys, we've talked about what the defense did do, but offense, we've mentioned it. I'm sure in your heart of hearts, we got to start running the ball. We got to start getting Panic and Roots the ball and see what they can do.
There's no question. I think our offensive line has to maintain the consistency of sticking and staying on their blocks and making sure we understand that. And so once that happens and once we get that going, our backs are going to be pretty special. And we got our man Nick Bingham got some carries last week and did some nice work there. And then Jordan Jones will be working in there also.
Well, Bingham's kind of an attitude runner, isn't he? Joe and I even noticed he came up on it. This defensive back came up on him, thought he was going to lay a lick on him. And as it turned out, the defensive back got pretty much pancaked on. I don't think he expected the blow that Bingham was going to lay on him. That's what he brings to the table.
No question. I think that Nick does bring a great work ethic and attitude.
And then I suppose the other thing is a coach, even for the greatest teams, when you're executing perfectly, you always have some trouble spots during a ball game. I guess for this ball club, maybe, I don't know if we got a fragile psyche or not, but if there is a little failure here and there, you got to be able to bounce back. That bounce back ability, I guess we say, hey, it's not the end of the world if we go 3 and out at some point. We just have to stop them on defense. Each side's got to pick up the other, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Our attitude and chemistry has to be right. We have to do that through adversity. And I think we've faced enough adversity that I want to see our guys be able to grow and develop our chemistry is number one. And then because our attitude has been good. We traveled great. I thought everybody was awesome with that. It just mattered of being able to withstand a punch once in a while and being able to respond. And our kids have. We just haven't done it enough to go win a ball game. And that's what the strain part of it. You got to go and fight your way through to understand what that inch is and how hard it is to win. People just want to hand it to you. But you got to go and you got to strain to be able to go win.
I guess you could say it. And we've seen in the first couple ball games, the defense refused to fold in that game. Against Commerce, there were many opportunities they probably could have. We could have had that game get stretched out. This game as well. When it's 21-0, you're probably going, oh, man, should we just give up? But no, they played hard the entire ball game. That's one thing you got to hang your hat on. We are still putting the effort out.
Well, especially in that game with that hostile crowd and what we got going on. And our kids kept bringing it. And when we cut it to 28-14, I was really thinking that we're going to get a drive there and go 28-21, and then we're going to find a way to get it to overtime to go win it.
All right, got about 30 seconds for you here. Message to the fans. What do you want to see this weekend?
Hey, game time's 1 o'clock. Just want to make sure that you come out and understand that. Come out early and stay late and tailgate. We got to have a heck of a day, and these Thunder Wolves need all the loud and support that we can get. And you guys were great 2 weeks ago, and let's go be better, and let's continue to help support this. And we're looking forward to this regular season to get this thing off on a good note. We need everybody there.
All right, special people to thank here. Of course, ThunderZone Pizza and Tap House. Each and every week they put out a great spread. It's all-you-can-eat wing night. Come on out and join us here afterwards. We thank Dax Larson for coming over, being our guest here tonight. It's his going-away party here. You can come celebrate that with him as well. From CSU Pueblo, the new sports information guys, Trey Straz's car. So we thank him for all of his efforts. We also had some stuff from Riley Dean Baker, the sports information director up at Black Hills State. Joe Cervi away on assignment in Disneyland. He'll be back for the game on Saturday.
I think he's interviewing for the Mickey Mouse job.
Could be like Guy Gerton, Dancing Tulip. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
All right. Benny Bash been our producer and engineer tonight of the John Wristen Show. My name is Jim Brooks. For the head coach, John Wristen, for everybody involved with the John Wristen Show, good night, everybody.
Go Pack.